afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you are tuning in. This is Unapologetically Me, featuring me. No special guest, just me. So today we're going to be talking about the Summer Wells case. And while this has been all over the news for the last 5-6 months, it's something that I really started deep diving into just in the last week or so. I've been keeping up with the case, so I am very familiar with it, but I was not as familiar with all the theories and just all the craziness of this case. So I may make 2 videos, one about the timeline, the backstory, and all of that, and then one about some of the theories that are out there that actually make a lot of sense and that there's actually a lot of kind of leads about. I don't want to spread any false information. I don't want to, just make a bunch of speculation about this case. I'm not trying to, make a mockery of a tragedy of a 5-year-old who is missing and possibly not here anymore. So, but I did want to talk about some things that actually did make sense to me. So that's either going to be at the end or that's going to be in a part 2 of this video. So, as right now, part 1, here we are. Just remember, I will do my best to talk unbiasedly and keep my opinion to myself until the very end, which is where I will share some of my opinions and thoughts about this case. So as of right now, we're just going to jump in and we're going to talk about Miss Summer Moon Utah Wells. So she was reported missing on June 15th of 2021. She is 5 years old, blonde hair, blue eyes. She was last seen / heard by her brothers, her 3 brothers. And I say it like that because no one actually saw her, but they did hear her voice. She asked her brothers if they would come downstairs and play in the playroom with her. They said no, they wanted to play their video games. And as far as they knew, she went downstairs to her basement, which was also a playroom, and her room was down there as well as her parents' room. So it wasn't like just some basement. That's basically where she played and slept. So they thought she went down there, and that's the last that anyone ever heard from her. So there are a few main people in this case that I'm going to be talking about in this video. Of course, there's a lot more than just these people who have since become involved in this case. But for right now, going off of facts, we're going to talk about the main people in this case. And the main people are obviously Summer, her mother, Candace Wells, her father, Don Wells, her grandma, who's also named Candace, and otherwise she tends to go by Candy, or they call her Grandis. Now we're going to call her Grandis only because my kids have a Grandma Candy, and it's just really weird for me to say that, especially in a case like this. So we also have Hunter, and we have Allison, aka Allie, who is Hunter's mom, and also was a very good friend of Candace, but isn't anymore. So this case is pretty difficult to cover. There's hardly any info that is available to the public for good reason. There's a lot of inconsistencies in this case, starting with the first 911 calls that were made. There's a lot of he said, she said in this case, and there's a lot of false leads. And another issue we're having is that none of the people that I just named to you seem to be very good at remembering time. They've even admitted that they're not good with time. That can always really screw up a timeline. I mean, it's hard to tell what happened and, the amount of time that it took for something, whatever. We don't have a lot of that. So, and what we do have has kind of been pieced together by police and investigators. So that can make it issues. And then a lot of the leads that have appeared to be dead ends. or they're just not saying it. So again, with them not making a lot of information public. As always, I said, I will do my best to leave my opinion to the very end, where I then will make, my opinions or thoughts known about the subject matter and the people involved. However, if you see a flashing icon, either up here or up here, it'll be a flashing exclamation point. That is, that means a tangent has begun and is currently in progress. When that flashing is off, I usually start, that's when I go back into talking about the case. If you're not interested in listening to my ramblings, feel free to just fast forward until you don't see that flashing thing anymore. I put it in there because I just can't help myself sometimes. And some people want to know what I have to say, while other people just want to know about the case. So, respecting both people, I have now made it very easy to fast forward through my tangents. So I'm going to be as unbiased as possible. As I said, I'll be presenting some information that law enforcement has been made aware of by another channel that, in my opinion, could be a pretty solid lead. I will put her link in the description box, as well as another channel that really goes deep into this case, more on a theory level. So I will put those in the description box. The information that some of these people have, one in particular, it's just a lot. So Missing But Not Forgotten, she has done nothing but dedicate herself to this case. She's amazing, and she's uncovered a lot. And honestly, I'm kind of worried for her. She's been threatened and her address has been put out there. So I don't want to get that deep into this case. I have a family as well, and I don't, also, like I said, it's a lot of speculation, but I think she's getting somewhere with something. So go ahead and check her out, show her some love and, appreciation for what she has found, if you're interested. Another is Plunder. That is another one who really has done a lot of deep diving into this case and kind of reached out to the public and medical professionals to try to answer questions. If you're into any theories or you have some theories that you're wondering about, those two channels, of course there's tons that I could give you, but those two really go into two theories. One is the trafficking aspect, and the other one is the dry drowning aspect. So that will be in the description box for you to go check out. I'm not taking their stuff and putting it on my channel. I just refuse to do that to somebody. I don't think it's right. Obviously, we have the right to share certain things, but when you've done that much work for something, you deserve to have that be your work. So now we're going to jump into the morning of the disappearance. So we're going to start, there are obviously some different versions of events coming out of different people's mouths. We are going to go into Candace's version of events that morning. So this video is basically going to be the morning, everything up until they get home after dropping Hunter off. So this morning was like any other morning at the Wells home. Don said he got up early for work, very careful not to wake Summer. She had been sleeping in bed with them the night before, and I guess this was something that they were trying to break. It was a habit that she had, where she would go into her parents' bed. And now her room in the basement was right across from the parents, so it was easy for her to just walk in and climb in bed with mom and dad. And a lot of kids do that. And she was 5, so like I said, they were trying to break her of it, but she was still sleeping with them at the time. Don says that he left between 7 and 8 p.m. Again, remember, they are bad with time, so when it doesn't make sense 5 lines down, we can just, I guess, say he's bad with time. But anyway, to head to work. Now, he worked in Johnsboro, which is about 45 minutes away, he said. A lot of people have said it's more like an hour because of traffic, so it really just depends when you are driving. So Candace wakes up and gets ready to take her mother, Grandis, to an appointment at the Holston Valley Medical Center, which is in Kingsport, which is about 40 miles away. or my bad, 40 minutes away. So the reason being, Grandis had an artificial knee and was having some issues with it. After they went to a trip, or on a trip to Gatlinburg, I guess the boys were kind of roughhousing and kind of like ran into her knee. And ever since then, it had been sore and hurting. So she had an appointment to go see her doctor about that. Grandis' appointment was scheduled for 8 a.m. So here's the first inconsistency. Now, I don't go into the 911 call, but there was an inconsistency there as well, and we can talk about that later. So this would technically be the second inconsistency in this story. Don would have had to be gone by 7 for this timeline of Candace's to make sense. Now, if they're bad at time, and I can see him, if he left at 7, and she got up at 7:02, you know what I'm saying? Like, that would make sense. But if you have to go 40 minutes away and you're there by 8, which they were, you would have to leave at about, 7:15 or so? 7:20 if you're pushing it. So it had to have been closer to 7. Which isn't a huge inconsistency. I don't think it means anything. I'm just throwing it out there. Because Candace says, as well as Don, that he was gone when she got up. So Don would have had to have been gone by 7, or 7:02, 3, 4, 5, for this to make sense. Because Candace, like I said, I'm repeating myself. I'm so sorry. So Candace and Summer, as well as Grandis, arrive at the hospital at 8 a.m. They drop Grandis off, and then they wait just sitting in the car in the parking lot. So while they're sitting in the car in the parking lot, Candace says she gets a phone call from Hunter. Now, Hunter is a 15-year-old boy that's a family friend of the Wells. Hunter is the son of Allie, or Allison, who used to be very good friends with Candace, but I guess they had a huge fight and falling out, and they're no longer friends. However, Hunter has always been welcome to, talk to the kids and her and maintain a relationship, because I guess Hunter was very close with her boys and even Summer, and also he was like a son to her. So, however, I'm going to throw this in there because it's true. They hadn't talked for 8 months. So Hunter and Candace had not had communication for about 8 months until to this day. So in this call, Candace says Hunter was just calling to see what they were up to. Candace tells them they're at the hospital with Grandis, just waiting in the parking lot. Hunter says, well, you can come over if you want, to wait here instead of having to wait in the parking lot. And Candace says, well, ask your mom. Mom says yes. So they go to Hunter's home to wait. Now, we don't have a time for this exactly. If we go into the interviews, there are times thrown around, but we don't really have an exact time. So, and we don't know how long exactly was spent at Hunter's home. But while they were there, Hunter asked if he could go with them after hearing Candace say something to Summer about going swimming. Before this can even be figured out, Grandis calls already to be picked up, and Hunter asks his mom if he can go with anyway. He wanted to get out of the house to get away from his grandma, because I guess he didn't get along very well with his grandma. In fact, in Candace's interview, she says a few choice words that they actually bleep out. So, and he says, Hunter said that, not me. Or she said. So, anyway, he asks if he can go with still to get out of the house. She says yes, and so the three leave to go pick up Grandis. After picking up Grandis, they head to Walgreens to fill her grand's prescription. So they get in line at the pharmacy drive-thru, and while in line at the drive-thru, Candace gets a call from Don. According to Candace, this is very usual. He usually calls every few hours during the day while he's at work to just kind of check in and see how's it going at home. Candace says that he asked about the appointment and what they were up to and when they were going to be home, things like that, just a random check-in kind of call from your husband. They drop off the script and they're told to come back in 30 minutes to pick it up. So they decide while waiting to go to Warriors Path State Park because I guess they have like a swimming hole, or I don't know if it's a legal swimming hole, but it's a place for Summer to swim. And Summer loves swimming. In fact, she even had her suit on already, just in case they could stop and swim somewhere. So they figured while they waited, they would go there, let her swim, you know, kill time. So on the way to the swimming hole, we'll call it that, they make 2 stops, according to Candace. One was to a smoke shop where Candace and Grandis pick up 3 cans of twisted tea. The second stop was to a place called Hippie House, which is a newer business in the area that sells CBD, nicotine, vape products, and THC. I don't think like a dispensary type THC. I think maybe like a Delta 8. It is Tennessee. They have pretty hefty laws about that. So, anywho, while Candace is there, she buys a couple of Skittle flavored vape pens or puff bars, and then they make their way to the water hole. Summer is already in her bathing suit. Like I said, she goes directly to the water. According to Candace, Hunter goes directly to the woods. When they ask Candace why, she says, I don't know. I have no clue. He went to the woods. Candace and Grandis are watching Summer swim, and eventually Hunter comes out of the woods and joins Summer in the water. Candace even posts a TikTok of this. So after a bit, they say they're there about 20 minutes or so, and I believe I do have a time for that. 12:21 is when the police said it was, I think their car was seen on surveillance in that area. So 12:21 is when they went to the swimming hole. She says they only stayed there about 20 minutes. We don't know if that's true or not. It seems quick, right? But it could be. So anyway. So, after a bit, 20 minutes, they drive back to Walgreens, pick up Grandis's prescription, and they make 2 stops on the way to drop off Hunter back home. The first stop was to a Sonic, where Candace buys everybody slushies. The second was to a grocery store called Priceless, to pick up some staple items. She just said milk and some cheese and stuff like that. She said she was only in there about 5-10 minutes. And that's it. Candace says this only took, 5 to 10 minutes. So after that, they take Hunter directly home and drop him off. And then they start their little head back to Beach Creek, which is where they live, if I didn't say that already. During the drive home, Summer falls asleep on the 2 milk jugs in the back seat, and Grandis aims to take a picture of this, allegedly, but it ends up being a video. In it, you can hear Candace say, does she still have her arm up? Grandis, no. Candace, oh, that's what I was trying to catch. So this video and a supposed screenshot of this video have become quite famous, as speculation of the tone in their voices has been questioned, as well as whether or not Summer is even alive in this picture at this time. Also, the photo is at a completely different angle than the video, say a lot of web sleuths out there. And Allie seems to think that the photo was taken outside of her home, where the video was later on the drive home. So, again, lots of he said, she said about things.
She still got her arm up?
No.
Oh, that's what I was trying to catch. But she still got her arm up?
No.
Oh, that's what I was trying to
And the video being taken during the drive, the video was taken at when asked to present this video to the police. She says what time, the timestamp of it was June 15th at 3:09 p.m. So, unless she's smart enough to manipulate timestamps on something that she doesn't have control to manipulate a timestamp on, I don't know. Yes, I know when you snap and whatever, you can put a date on there, but it's the date that they give you. Of course, you can always change it, but this wasn't like it was a banner saying it. This was the actual timestamp, which is run by TikTok, not Candace Wells. So just keep that in mind before you jump to conclusions about that. So now we're going to get into Hunter's version of events. So his version is similar. However, he's added a lot more detail that Candace did not talk about. Whether she's just, being frank and to the point and he feels the need to add information, whether he's adding information that's not true, whatever, we don't know. But we do know that his version does have a lot more to offer than Candace's. So here we go with Hunter's version. I'm so sorry about Nancy. The heater is just burning my legs. Yet if it's not on me, it's freezing because it's literally like 17 degrees here today. And it's like I get hot and then I'm freezing. So I'm like hot up here. My legs are burning, but my toes are free. Anyway, okay. Okay, take that down. I'm ready. So Hunter says Candace texted him that morning, telling him that she was taking Grandis to the hospital for an appointment. And so Hunter says then he called Candace back and offered for them to come over there while they waited so that they didn't have to wait in the parking lot. This is an inconsistency because Candace never mentions texting Hunter that morning. Hunter says that Candace told him that it was just she and Summer and that the boys went to work with their dad. Now this again is another inconsistency right away because Candace denies ever saying this because she told police, and she maintains that story, that the boys stayed home alone that morning watching TV and playing video games. They did not want to go with her. And I would think that the police have probably sorted this out, but I don't know. So they go to Hunter's house. While they're there, he hears Candace say something to Summer about going fishing. So he asks if he can go. Candace says yes, but before they even leave the house, Grandis has already called and says that she's done and she's ready to be picked up. Hunter still wants to go to get out of the house a little. And he asks his mom. She says yes. So the three head to the hospital to pick up Grandis. Hunter says that in the drive-thru of Walgreens that Don does call Candace. However, when asked what that call was about, he has a different reason for the call and a different conversation. So Hunter asks what the call was. He says that he asked Candace, what was that call all about? And he says that Candace told him that Don had called about a strange man that was on their property for a little over a week and that keeps stalking their kids. Hunter said, I don't even know if he was working at the time because how would he know there's a guy on the property if he wasn't home? Also, Hunter says, some dudes, all I know is she said some dude's been up on the property trying to touch all the little kids. That's what I was told. Huge inconsistency because Candace has spoken out about this and she said that this is just not true. That is not what she told Hunter in the car. That is not what Don said to her on the phone. Where Hunter came up with this, she has no clue. Don was also asked the same question and he said he called to check in with Candace as he usually did, and that he asked about the appointment. She said they were dropping off the prescription and we're going to have to wait for them to fill it. And then after that, they would, probably be home, sometime after that. They leave Walgreens after being told to wait 30 minutes and they make one stop on the way to the swimming hole. So here's another inconsistency. Whereas Candace said they made 2 stops, he says they only made 1. And the one stop that they made was to a discount tobacco store where Grandis bought cigarettes and Candace bought 2 puff bars, one for her and one for him, and 1 twisted tea, which she gave to Hunter. He says the hippie house stop was after the swimming hole. Well, at the swimming hole, he says that he and Candace watched Summer swim. Grandis stayed behind in the car to put minutes on her phone. He said while Summer was swimming, he and C vaped. He drank the twisted tea. Yet then he says they drank the teas. So who knows? She said there were 3. He says there was 1. Yet he's saying that they were drinking the teas and smoking a vape. So did they share the one, or did each one of them? Who knows? Inconsistency. You shocked? Candace denies this. Ding, 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 ding. He says they were also watching TikToks. He says that at one point while they were there, Summer went underwater for about 10 to 15 seconds. Now, this time frame changes given on when he's asked, who asked him, and how much he was pressed about this, but this time frame of her being underwater has changed a lot. So originally he said 10 to 15 seconds, and then he says, oh no, it may have been like 2 to 4 seconds. And then he said, I mean, it could have been up to 60 seconds because we were looking down. I was watching a TikTok, and when I looked up, she was under. Now, so basically the time frame of her being underwater was somewhere between like 4 and 60 seconds. However, he said, it had him shook and it spooked him. He did make his way to the water casually and took his shirt off to go in after her. So he says that she was laughing when he brought her up and didn't cough up water or anything like that. She was fine. Now this is an inconsistency again because Candace denies that this ever happened. In fact, she says not one time did Summer go underwater for any amount of time. Yet, she has video of her going underwater here and there a little bit. So, I think maybe what she meant is she never went under to where it was a concern. So, he says that they left shortly after that. Candace changed Summer into some clothes that she already had in the back of the truck, which were supposed to be her first day of school clothes. Because she was cold and, she was wet. And on the way back to Walgreens is when they stopped at Hippie House. He said that only Candace and Grandis went in because he and Summer weren't of age to go in there. And they just went in to check it out because it was a newer place and they hadn't been there before and it just opened. So they figured they wanted to just go take a peek inside and see what they had in there. So he and Summer waited in the car just watching TikToks. He says that Candace came out with 2 more vape pens, one for him and one for her. Inconsistency. Again, Candace denies this. They go to Walgreens. They go to Sonic for slushies. So we're on the same page here. They go to the grocery store where H says they were in there for about an hour. So there's that consistency now. Where Candace says 5 to 10 minutes. Hunter says it's more like an hour. But he did say that it didn't seem like it was super long. Probably about an hour. So, the difference between 5 and 10 minutes and an hour to me is quite a bit. So it may have been only 30 minutes as opposed to 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. We don't know. That's another inconsistency. Candace said that 5 to 10 minutes, but Hunter, with Hunter, he's a kid. And when kids are waiting at any amount of time that they can be bored, they always think it's way longer than it is. And my kids all the time. It's been like 3 hours that you've been out there. When are you going to come in? It's actually been an hour and 10 minutes, not 3 hours. So it could be that too. Now he says while they were out there waiting that they just watched more TikToks during this time. Initially, he couldn't remember about the milk or the groceries, who put them in the truck, whether or not he did or they did. It was a kind of mixed up story. But he finally said milk. Oh, yeah, the milk. Yeah, I put it in the center because I was afraid it was going to fall down. So I made sure to put them in the middle. So the way that they were in the back seat would have been groceries, milk, Summer, Hunter. So to kind of get picture of where they were. So Summer was in the middle between Hunter and the groceries and the milk. So he says that he finally says he helped put the groceries in, and he remembered the milk gallons and why he put them there and whatever, and then he's dropped off at his house. So this brings us to the next part, is when they got home. So what happened when Candace and Grandis and Summer got home with the groceries and everything after the video and all of that. Obviously it's a new day. Yesterday was rough. So I had a nail appointment, and got caught up in this case, to be honest with you. I just sit and I do nothing but watch this. And, you know, much like the Aiden Fucci case that I did, I cannot stop going down the rabbit hole of this case. There's just so much. So, anyway, new day. We're going to talk about the afternoon very quickly, actually. I mean it this time. So, Candace says that when they got home, they called the boys to help with the groceries. This is kind of strange because, remember, she said that she had only gone into Priceless for about 5 to 10 minutes to grab some milk, cheese, and like some staple products, and it was very quick. So why did she need help from the boys to bring the groceries in? Well, it comes out that because also Grandis had some groceries that needed to be taken to her trailer. Now, Grandis's trailer is on Candace's property. The trailer and the home are about 25 feet from each other. So as the boys are bringing in groceries and whatever, well, what I want to say was, could this be why Hunter said it took an hour? Because it actually did. Because they actually got a lot more groceries than just milk and cheese. And also, maybe that's what Candace got. But Grandis maybe got her groceries too, and that took longer. Or maybe they stopped after dropping Hunter off on the way home. And they stopped again at another store. These are things we don't know. We will never probably know the answers to some of these questions. And do they really matter when it comes to this? I don't think so. Candace says that she, Grandis, and Summer then went to plant some flowers in some pots that Grandis had. And when done with that, Summer went into Grandis's trailer. She gave her a piece of candy, which I guess she always does whenever Summer helps her with something. And Summer then goes home to the 25 feet home on the same property. So not far, goes right into her own home. Candace stays, helps Grandis with her knee brace, and then after that she goes directly home. She said 2 minutes maybe. So she comes in the house, she asks the boys, where's Summer? And they say she went downstairs to play. And so she goes to the stairs, she calls down to Summer, she doesn't hear an answer. She calls again, no answer again. So she makes her way down the stairs and calls Summer again, can't find her. There is a door in the basement that leads to the outside. She walks out there. She said she couldn't remember if it was locked or not. It obviously was unlocked. Otherwise, that wouldn't really make sense. But she said she couldn't remember if it was locked or unlocked. So she goes out, yells again, Summer, turns around, looks up by the swing that Summer normally would go to if she were outside. No Summer. She walks around for a little bit calling Summer, but she is adamant that Summer would never go farther than that swing. So she right away is like, no, Summer's not here, because if she were, I'd have seen her by now. She doesn't go far. She's scared of the woods. I've made her scared of the woods, and she would be one of these places that I looked. So she calls Don. By now it's about 5:30 p.m. Don says he, hurriedly packed up all of his tools, hopped in his truck, and he also advised her to call 911. Once he was on his way home, he also called 911. So there were actually 2 911 calls, which maybe that is why when I told you in the beginning there was an inconsistency with the 911 calls. That could be why. It's 2 people calling at 2 separate times, maybe talking to 2 separate dispatchers, and we don't know which call was who and what was said. That's something that the public does not have access to. We just know what was said on it. We don't know which one said it. So I could see Don just being whatever. She may have said, I walked around looking for her, I can't find her. He may have taken that as you went for a walk and came home and couldn't find her. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways that, especially when you're freaking out and panicking about a missing child, that you could maybe misconstrue a situation. Right now you're thinking, I need to get home, I need to find my kid. Giving them the benefit of the doubt, okay? So, now, 911 is called at this point. They come out and, you know, they searched high and low for her. They searched hours, days, everywhere they possibly could. Outdoor, anything outdoor, like the sheds, the trailer, obviously, the home, any outdoor things that were there. They had a bus on their property that was searched as well. There was a path where the dogs found a trail that seemed like it led down through a little path down to the road. And that's where the dogs lost the scent. So they picked up Summer's scent at the top of the trail on the property, went through down that trail there, and that road right there at the end is where they lost the scent. So very, very possible, if not probable, she was either taken down through there and thrown into a vehicle, and off they went with her. My opinions and thoughts. I find a lot of things odd about this case, and there's a lot of theories going on out there. The dry drowning, excuse me, is obviously a theory that is a big one going on because it's possible. Hunter said that she had gone underwater for, he's not even sure, it could have been up to 60 seconds, and that he had to get her, and that, you know, dry drowning does happen hours after the person, you know, has, you know, a near drowning experience. And sometimes it's not even a noticeable near drowning experience. We've seen this happen, you know, if you look it up, unfortunately, with infants and toddlers that are in a bath even. And, you know, a couple hours later, they must have inhaled some water during that bath, and that is, they drowned, but they're not even in the water anymore at the time, and they seem to have been fine right away after they're taken from the water. Super scary, and as a mom, and now I have a toddler all over again, it is something that terrifies me. I didn't know about it for probably I think I found out about 5 years ago. So I had already had, my kids were older, so my youngest was 5. So I didn't really too much worry about it as far as in the bath, but I always worry about it when they go to the pool. So anyway, that is something. And then another one was trafficking. And I've gone through some people's, you know, channels and seen some things that are pretty terrifying that are looking to be linked to the family having some sort of connection of this. And could she have been trafficked is a huge question. Or could it have been kind of a planned kidnapping? Don has referred to it as an abduction, and then on Dr. Phil, he referred to it as a kidnapping. It's very, very interesting. Where they live is not like it could be random, in my opinion. No one's going to randomly go down that road where they live. The houses are miles apart. I don't see that being a possibility of a random act. It would have to be someone who knew she was there, and they were familiar with how to get her. They were familiar with the fact that maybe that door wasn't always locked. They were familiar with the path where they could park and get directly to her and get out of there. Whether it was strangers who staked them out. Now, you know, Hunter said there was that phone call about a strange man on the property watching the kids. which Candace denied, and so did Dawn. Was this someone who was staking them out and knew that they wanted her? There were a lot of photos posted about her on TikTok and everything, and like I said, they seem to, based off of someone's investigation of certain people's Facebook accounts, they seem to have been friends with a lot of people that were tied to this. I'm not going to say any more than that. I don't know. I haven't personally gone through. I've just watched other channels about this, and they seem pretty legit. So I don't know. Also, psychics have really weighed in on this. A lot of psychics and, on YouTube and tarot readers and everything have tried to kind of figure out what's going on here. Most of them, they aren't really getting whether or not she's alive or dead. It's very mixed. Some say they're not getting that she's yet deceased, and some are saying that she is. So again, we have a lot of here, inconsistencies in what people are finding, and the stories on everybody's behalf have changed so many times, it's ridiculous. We're not getting clear stories, we're not getting clear answers, and I just don't know what to do at this point. I was gonna make more of a video too, but I honestly have to get away from this case at this point. It has taken up every second of my life. I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning last night. I'm up at 8 a.m. doing the same thing. 9 a.m. same thing. So it's like I have to step away from this at this point. I just can't anymore. I definitely have a feeling of what happened, and I hope that who's responsible is brought to justice, and I hope that they are able to figure this out soon. So thank you guys so much for listening. Please like, subscribe, please. If you like, it really does help me out. It helps the algorithm of my channel. So please, if you could do that, I would just be so grateful. I will talk to you guys later when I have another case for you, and I'm already working on it. So I will see you guys then. Bye.